Thinking. He's definitely taking the Seaborn Muse. Almost definitely. He's put it down, face down in front of him. He has to take the Yosei here. I don't think there's any other option.
Yeah, he has to get Yosei.
So what's his third card here? Is it going to be Selesnya Guildmage, or is it going to be... Selesnya Guildmage is interesting because with the Seaborn Muse, it will allow him to untap and untap his mana each turn, so he can make multiple guys with the Selesnya Guildmage and make his Glare of Subdual hopefully enough to contain Mori's army when he eventually untaps.
Yeah, I think his route to victory has to involve Glare and a bunch of tokens.
Right.
He's the one with the City Tree. Katsu does not have one. He also has a backup in case Katsu draws an enchantment removal spell.
The real problem here for him is that he doesn't get to go 5 cards deeper on the Yosei, which is really what he was looking to do when he was setting this up. When he took that big hit and left the mana open for the congregation, it was because he thought he was going to be able to get all these cards into his hand on one turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the Yosei from Mori is sort of gumming up his plan a little bit. He's
got to draw Yosei, then probably Seaborn Muse next. He's just trying to figure out, 2 turns ahead, 3 turns ahead, how do I make sure I don't die to all those other creatures after I've inputted the Yoseis and to lock him down for a turn?
Which is probably why I guess he's looking at the Caridid. And he plays gets a card, gets the sack it for 2 more cards, discards 3, but he can go deeper.
He can go Caryatid Seaborn Muse on the same turn. Right. Like he can Caryatid into the Seaborn Muse next turn, or the turn after.
And then his lands on tap.
Oh, there's the slap you were expecting.
Yeah, there it is.
Katsu trying to make sure he keeps his... Yes. Say again,
please. Kaji is narrowing it down. Yeah, you really when a player takes a long time making a decision, it really gets under Mori's skin. He's really eager to play. He gets really, really impatient.
You think Kaji knows that?
Might actually be a little bit of gamesmanship from Kaji.
Yeah, I'm sure Kaji knows that about Mori.
You can upset him. He and Tomohiro Saito are both 2 players who get very impatient. They will urge their opponents to play faster and make decisions. So Kaji might be getting into his head a little bit here. So what did he do? Seaborn Muse.
I can't tell what the middle one is.
It looks like it's Selesnya Guildmage from here. I think that was Selesnya Guildmage. But maybe Carbon Cataracte. He'll play that. Caryatid.
He drew the Seaborn Muse? Really? Wow.
Seaborn Muse, make a guy.
And then on Kaji's upkeep, he can go glare, resolve the Seaborn trigger to untap them all, right? So he can effectively tap 6 creatures?
Something like that.
Whew. Yeah, that'll keep him alive a turn, and then he'll have the Seaborn Muse when the Yoseis implode.
And then he won't be affected by the untap of the Yosei.
Right.
He'll be able. His lands will untap under the Yosei.
Yep.
I believe. It says skip your untap steps. I don't know. Seaborn Muse, I believe, is during your upkeep.
During each player's or
each player's upkeep. Japanese love Seaborn Muse.
Oh, wow, he just scoops. That's it?
Oh, I think he was a mana short.
Wow. Katsuhiro Mori's through to the finals, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations, Katsumori.
I'm not missing anything, right?
Nope.
Wow. Tomohiro Kaji couldn't quite piece it together. He tried. I'll be very interested to get a translated story from Kaji about what happened there. He chose to get the Seedborn Muse, not the Yosei.
And if he'd gotten the Yosei, he would have had.
He clearly would have bought himself some time, but presumably there was not a play there. Kaji resolved. What a bizarre ending. I did not think that game was over.
I think Kaji.
Why was that game over? I mean, why can't he go Seedborn Muse a bunch of untaps?
Well, he doesn't get a bunch. He gets one untap on Mori's turn.
Sure, but he can tap his response to the Seedborn Muse.
I don't believe you can. I don't believe you have an opportunity to tap in response.
Why not? Isn't it a triggered ability?
I'm not sure. We'll have to check into that.
Wow, so Katsuhiro Mori is through to the finals. 3-1 over Tomohiro Kaji. Not the most camera-friendly win, but Katsu will take it. One way or the other, Kaji could not put the pieces together, and it's Katsuhiro Mori in the finals trying to become the first ever Japanese world champion. Well, who's going to play against him? Let's go find that out now. Will it be Frank Carsten from the Netherlands trying to become the third Dutch world champion? Will it be Akira Asahara with the homage to John Finkel, the blue shirt and tie that John used to win in Brussels? Asahara is down 2 games, but he has resolved Enduring Ideal in this game. He's searching his library. He's figuring out what enchantment to pick.
So we're at the point where the Enduring Ideal is triggered a couple of times.
At least once. I see Yosei on Frank's side of the board.
I see Zer's Weirding on Asahara's side.
Ah, the players are playing with their hands face up due to the Zer's Weirding.
Asahara is going to become one of the most beloved players in the world. People love Zer's Weirding.
So what else does he have?
Telling Time, 2 Faith's Feathers, a Mana Leak, a Form of the Dragon, a land and a Confiscate. He's confiscated a land already from... I'm sorry, there's one of Karsten's lands has been confiscated.
Okay. And it looks like Carsten played Yosei.
He's got 3 confiscates.
Asahara has to pay to deny the top, right? If he lets him have Divining Top, he can just totally negate Zer's Weirding.
Absolutely.
So Zer's Weirding is an enchantment that says every time somebody would draw a card, the opponent has the option of paying 2 life to deny him that card.
Oh, I guess it doesn't. You still have to draw a card.
With top, it still draws. It's not put into your hand.
Yeah, you still draw. You still have to draw the card. You look at your cards, but then you're going to, when you activate your top, you're drawing that card. It's a card draw.
Okay. So he could still deny it. So then the top does nothing. Zer's Weirding. You know what Zer's Weirding does? It just confuses everything. Zer's Weirding is the kind of card you play because you've taken the time to figure out what it actually does, and your opponent just isn't really aware of all the interactions.
So the very first PTQ ever was won by a Necro deck with Zer's Weirding in it by Ben Bleiweiss. Since then, Zer's Weirding has never won. So Akira Asahara is looking to rewrite history here.
It's been a fixture in the Enduring Ideal decks over the last 6 months.
It's actually a big part of Enduring Ideal.
So Carsten sets up his draw. Gets denied. What is that, Tendo Ice Bridge? Oh, is he down a color? Is that what's going on?
I don't believe he has. Does he not have any black?
I think he's down all of his black mana. I think that's why Asahara confiscated that land.
I don't think I can win. I don't think I can win anymore. Let me think about it.
Carsten not sure he has any ability to win. If Asahara just keeps denying him black mana, that's often one of the things that happens with Zer's Weirding is your opponent has to play with their hand face up, and so you can figure out, is there some flaw in their draw? If you just deny all the black mana, how many black mana sources does Frank Carsten have? Asahara has enough life, he can just deny every single one of them.
And Asahara's draws are not relevant.
Right. He couldn't cast those spells anyway.
Those cards off to the side, they're in his hand. He can't cast them. he never casts another spell for the rest of the game.
He's not allowed to. Enduring Ideal is that powerful. So powerful, it's the last spell you're allowed to cast. Now what does Asahara do? Is it time to go confiscate Yosei?
Well, it's interesting. He's letting Enduring Ideal resolve, so he can't sacrifice Hanakami in response.
Oh, you can actually confiscate it. That's right.
Or Faith's Fetters it, which is what Asahara is thinking about doing here.
Those Faith's Fetters are nice. They give you the life you need for Zer's Weirding.
Yes. And you can't once you've let that happens upon resolution, it goes right into play.
Right.
You can't respond if you have a sacrifice. You have to make all your decisions before the Enduring Ideal resolves. Because it just plop comes into play.
And that's exactly what Asahara does.
Yep.
Faith's Fetters on Hanakami. That looks an awful like a swamp on Frank's side of the board. Doesn't it?
Swamp all the way over there on the right? On the left?
Yeah.
Asahara just puts a card in the pile that is his hand.
Maybe Asahara's plan is to deny every draw. Oh, there's that top again.
Another top. You're just going to let him have the top, I assume.
That's what he did last turn.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, no, he did pay 2 life at a time.
I think he can pay 2 every time.
Well, also, once he gets Form of the Dragon in play, he regains the life.
Yep.
He goes back to 5 each turn. Unless Carsten can set up a Hasty Dragon.
Okay.
Could be a good name for this deck, Hasty Dragon.
Why would you call it that exactly?
You get the Hasty Dragons. Talking about Carsten's deck.
Where does the haste come from?
Koryo's Vengeance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like a little shallow.
It's not really
grave.
the point. But...
It's going to confiscate Yosei.
Yep.
Probably start serving with a Genju of the Realm soon.
Or Yosei. This is the first of the 3 games where Asahara has managed to resolve an Enduring Ideal. You don't lose very often after resolving that card.
Carsten knocks up land. Doesn't let him have it.
Yeah, no reason to let him have anything.
Nope.
There are Rending Vines in Carsten's hand.
There's confiscate on a swamp. Yeah, Frank's done. Frank just scoops him up. This game is clearly over. Asahara managed to resolve Enduring Ideal, and that's pretty much all it takes. Gives Frank back his land, and now Asahara is on the board. Carsten still leads 2-1. Actually had a very similar thing happen in the quarters where he ran out to a 2-0 lead and then lost game 3, lost game 4. Had to win a gut-wrenching game 5.
Even when he's playing fast, he likes to take as much time as possible.
We're going to move these 2 players up to the hero table. Make sure we get our 4th camera pointed at them to cover the rest of this semifinal.
So I got an update on what was going on over in the other match.
Okay.
I think we had that flipped around. Mori was going to come out from under the Yosei first.
Sure.
So it was just going to be enough to kill him. He wasn't going to be, even if he was 1 mana short of being able to set up everything he needed. So he did the math, and there really was, the Yosei play wasn't going to save him.
That's your point.
So the Yosei play was going to buy him a turn. He's going to be tapped. His opponent's going to be tapped, and then come out of it before he does. His opponent's going to be tapped out. He's going to be tapped out. Then his opponent's going to untap and just swing in with everybody.
So there was just absolutely nothing Tomohiro Kaji could do.
Right. So he needed the Seedborn Muse Catarid play to work, but he still was going to not be able to tap down everything that he needed to deal with.
All right. Who do you like? Do you still think Frank's got the edge in this matchup?
Absolutely. The rending vine, he can get a rending vines recursion going. He's in great shape. It looked like that game was a matter of there were some mana issues. There were some difficulties.
I'm not sure.
And it looked like he had a rending vines in his hand. It looked like No, these flat screens are nice, but I think we need high definition plasmas next time.
Yeah?
Yeah, big ones. Well, this would be remarkable. I mean, this would be a great story for Asahara if he could come back, though.
If he does, we also will clinch a Japanese world champion.
I'm reasonably certain that Asahara's matchup against the green-white glare deck is fantastic.
So if he can beat Carsten, he's the world champ?
I think so. I don't think he can lose to that deck.
Wow. They've got some enchantment removal, right? But I guess they can't recurse it?
Right. And again, you get the Zerzwir, and if he can catch them with their enchantment removal down, he can keep them away from ever getting any.
I love the tie. I can't believe how much respect the Japanese have for the history of the game, too. That's the thing that really struck me. They've been so into the Hall of Fame, and I mean, Asahara going back and picking John Finkel as that ideal that he wants to embody. Just makes you feel good about international Magic.
Right. They've always been. I mean, there was. I did a little piece yesterday on Jin Okamoto's retiring from the game, and one of the reasons he felt like he could retire is because he had passed on his Tiger shirt from Worlds in Berlin to Ryogura in Worlds last year. You know, he felt his work was done, and that he could, that he was able to. They're very concerned about tradition and legacy. And it's really nice to see, John getting this respect here.
Sure. Yeah, the thing I found really interesting about that piece was another example of a Japanese player picking the American as the icon of how things should be. Jin Okamoto says he's going to model the rest of his Magic career after Chris Pakula.
Right. He's not going to stop playing Magic. He feels like he has to get a job. He's reached that point in his life. So he's still going to play. He'll obviously still play with his friends and hang out, and go to the occasional Pro Tour, try to qualify for the ones that seem really interesting for him. Well, he's qualified for every one next year. He's a level 3 Players Club member. And then, really go to the ones where he can, have fun, catch up with his friends, see some great sights. Honolulu would be a great event to go to for him. And enjoy Magic. And I mean, Chris Pakula has really shown that you could do that. I hope Chris makes it to Honolulu with his.
He qualified at Grand Prix Philadelphia, but he has a child due right around the date, right?
He does. I think a week before, 2 weeks before the date. So
he needs to hope it's early.
So do you think Tsuyoshi Fujita is the first Japanese player who's going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame?
No,
Well,
Satoshi was on the first ballot. Satoshi Nakamura was on the first ballot. Taru Ishida is on the second ballot.
Tsuyoshi's year 3. I'm sorry.
Tsuyoshi's year 3.
So Taru Ishida is year 2. Taru still doesn't have a Pro Tour top 8. So
I mean, Taru is a spectacular player. I think
Fantastic.
he's extremely influential. I don't think he quite makes the cut for the Hall of Fame.
I think you need. It's the Pro Tour Hall of Fame. It's not the Grand Prix Hall of Fame.
Good point.
But Tsuyoshi Fujita in year 3 is he the first Japanese player to make it in?
Yes. The only thing that could slow him, he could get slowed down a year by how ridiculous that class is. It's hard to know. Somebody who deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Fame inductee is going to miss out of that year 3 class. I don't know who it is.
Right, Tsuyoshi has three top 8s. So I mean, he doesn't have quite the.
Right. I mean, he doesn't have the resume of a Mike Turian or a Nikolai Herzog.
Right.
I mean, forget about Brian Zvi, right?
But his contributions to the game,
sure.
He's obviously been instrumental in leading the way for Japanese Magic.
That's a fine point. But, I mean, who's on the outside looking in that class?
It's so hard to tell. I mean, just let 7 people in that year.